Alright guys, Terrible Shooter, that's my other channel. Go ahead and subscribe to that other YouTube channel as well. Terrible Shooter. I do gun impressions, first impression on firearms that I acquired, go to the range, and give you some impressions on some gear that I acquire along the way. But that's what this video is not going to be about. This is Terrible Mechanic here to replace a fuel injector because I'm having a cylinder 1 misfire. Now in my previous video when I was changing out the spark plugs, as you can see here, this is a continuation from that video. I'm having a cylinder 1 misfire, and it's right there. That's the one that we're going to be replacing. In order for me to do that, I have to remove a couple of parts and pieces, and since I already replaced this part here, I'm sorry, I forget which part it was, but I did replace the PCV valve as well, which is here. I also replaced the hose already, so I'm familiar with where these parts. My camera cut out, not sure why, but I think the last thing I was saying is that cylinder 1 is here, so I'm going to be replacing that, and I have to remove a couple of parts. I'm familiar with some of these parts already because I did replace these I want to say a couple weeks ago. So just looking at it, if I need access here, well here, sorry, there's a huge ass plane, jumbo jet plane flying above me. It looks like I'm going to have to take this off, all of this off. Now I'm aware that there's some fuel that'll leak in the process of me doing this. I don't have any ragged towels down here with me. I should go get some. But yeah, so I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get access to this bad boy. But installing it is pretty easy, so I already have the part. Let me go grab that. So here we go. I got the part here, and I got some silicone here. This is the fuel injector that we're going to be using to replace the old one. And I'll leave the part numbers and all that in the description box below. So in case you guys are working on this project, you know you need to change out some spark plugs, I'll put the part number in the description box so you guys can get the exact same ones. That'll work for mine. So when I get this taken apart, I'll get right back to you guys. Alright guys, so far I just removed some 10 millivolts here. Here, this bracket was over here. Took that off. I gotta take this off, and I should be able to lift this up with no issues. So alright guys, so I was able to finally take out the fuel injector. Obviously you can see which one's the older one and which one's the new one. We're going to be installing the new one right here. So what I did was I had a couple of 12 millivolt bolts that I had to unscrew so I can get access to the fuel line, which is here. This was attached to a couple of 12 millivolt bolts here that I had to take apart so I can lift it up enough where I could get clearance so I could take out the fuel injector, the old fuel injector. Now be mindful, some fuel will leak out once you take out one of the fuel injectors. So the last step for me to do is just install the new one, put everything back like so, and I'll be back. Alright guys, so I got the new fuel injector in. When you're replacing it, make sure that it's all the way in, like from underneath the fuel line right there. Just make sure you push down. Even when you think you got it, make sure you push down even more to make sure that it's connected. So we got the new fuel injector in now. Just gotta, I already hand tighten the 12 millivolt bolts for the fuel injector. Now I'm just gonna tighten it back down. Thank God it's just the first one, because if it was like the other ones, I would have really had to remove a lot of these parts. So just make sure that's tightened down. And it helps to have some extensions, guys. Let's see, this one is which extension is this? Okay, this is a 6-inch extension. All right, let's tighten down. And now I'm gonna reconnect this piece here. All right, there we go. Sorry, my hand was in the way. I was just moving this piece around to get it back into place. Make sure all the bolts are aligned. And now we just plug and play. So basically, this will go back here. It's hard to do this with one hand. It's kind of tough doing this with one hand, guys, so bear with me. Basically, we only had to change one fuel injector. Now, in the future, I'll go back and just change all of them since I had to replace one. I'm pretty sure there's a couple that needs to be replaced. All right, guys, so I have everything put back together. The ultimate test now is just to start the car and see if that check engine light goes away. I'm actually going to drive around the block for a little bit, just to validate and verify that we fixed everything. All right, guys, so sorry about that. I'm kind of doing everything backwards. Let's start the engine and let's see what happens. I don't know why all right, move that out the way. All right, so the engine light is gone. I'm gonna go for a spin around the block, probably grab something to eat really quick. Been working on it since 11, so no engine light, which is a good sign. The car actually sounds pretty good. So just a quick rundown. We replaced the spark plugs, and we also replaced one fuel injector. I was getting a misfire from cylinder 1, so we needed to replace that fuel injector, and that's what we did. Backstory is I had to also replace the PCV valve, and I also had to replace the hose because the hose was cracked from old age or whatever, so had to get a new hose. And then I started getting an engine light for cylinder 1 misfire, so that was the reason for us replacing the spark plugs and the fuel injector. Now, luckily, the other fuel injectors weren't affected. Seems like the other fuel injectors were okay. But seems like we fixed it. No engine light. The car's in idle and it doesn't sound like it's struggling. So I'm just gonna take it for a spin, go grab something to eat, and hopefully that engine light stays off. But so far so good. It looks like we fixed it. This is Terrible Mechanic. I'll have the tools that I used in the description box below. I'll also have the part numbers in the description box below in case any of you guys are working on the Ls430. I have a 2001, so I'm pretty sure the parts will be similar up to 2005 or 6. You guys can fact check me in the comments below. But thanks for tuning in. This is Terrible Mechanic. We seem to have fixed our issue, so yeah, clap it up, give me a like. Peace.